It's our music. It's our music. How you doing?
Music.
How you doing?
Music.
Justin,
What?
thanks for being 5 minutes late again. Appreciate it.
I wasn't 5 minutes late. I was 2 minutes late, and then my audio sucked, and now I'm 5 minutes late.
No, you're 5 minutes late. All right, so let's get right into it. Week 6 wrap up. So what should we start with here? All right, let's go with the Commanders Ravens game of the week. Ravens now 4-2. They won 30-23. Any thoughts on that game? Let's start with you, Justin.
Yeah, I watched this one. Great game. Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels dueled it out. Rivalry game of sorts, right? It hasn't really been in recent years because the Commanders have sucked for a while. But now that the Commanders don't suck, they only have to drive 15 minutes over the bridge or whatever to fight each other. Yeah, so I mean, both teams looked really good. Commanders showed up. They asserted themselves well, and they are still in the driver's seat in their division. I still think they're the favorites to win that division, considering the quality of the rest of the teams.
Frankie, do you concur with the Commanders being the favorites?
Absolutely right now, especially with you look at the Eagles are the Browns, but they're a shell of what they were. We'll get to the Cowboys and how atrocious they've been, and we will also get to the pathetic Giants offense. So why not? You have this great quarterback with Jaden Daniels. The offense is really picking up. Why can't the Commanders? I mean, you still sit there and go, oh, it's Washington. Like, are they really going to win? Because we have a history of this team just being terrible for 2 decades plus. It seems like, but right now it seems to me that they're the most fun team to watch. They're the most dynamic team to watch, and yeah, they should be the favorites in my opinion. But yeah, this great win by the Ravens. This was an excellent game. A lot of games that just a lot of blowouts and no real excitement. But this game, the back and forth between these two teams was great. Lamar continues to make a great case for a third MVP. I think right now I would say he's the favorite right now over Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud. And obviously the advantage the Ravens have is they have Derrick Henry. And this man at this age continues to impress and amaze. And that dynamic 1-2 punch for Baltimore is giving them the advantage right now. And so I still don't know if the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. The Kansas City, I think, until further notice, has the crown there, but Baltimore is surely making a case for it.
Well, the Ravens were it was your Super Bowl pick, Frankie, right? And it was also my Super Bowl pick. Yeah. How we looking? How we still feeling?
Still feeling pretty good. Again, with the offense looking as good as they've been, and I continue to not think that something is going to go wrong with the Chiefs here. I actually think the Chiefs, maybe prediction, I think this Sunday, because I just don't see anyone winning 3 Super Bowls in a row. Prove me wrong, but it's never been done before, and I just don't know if this team has it in them to do that. No discredit to them, but it's just almost impossible to do. But I think Baltimore, with the talent, especially that they have on offense, and if they play 60 minutes, which they had trouble with earlier in the year, if they can play 60 minutes, why can't this team win? Especially with you just worry about Lamar in a playoffs game. We just
I didn't realize
him falter.
I didn't realize nobody had ever won 3 in a row. I didn't realize that. I figured one of those early Steelers teams from the 70s maybe would have won.
No, they won 2 in a row twice. They won 2 in a row twice. They never won 3 in a row.
So, speaking of blowouts, the Lions crushed the Cowboys 47-9 and lost Aiden Hutchinson for the year. Leg not doing too good. You saw him on the ground. He said, I broke it. You can read his lips. Justin, any thoughts on that whole situation?
Did you see the video?
I saw the highlight. I didn't watch it live.
Yeah. So, So legs aren't supposed to bend that way.
No.
He apparently hit it on someone's planted leg, which is it's a weird way to injure it. Like his leg whipped around and it just did a little wrap around, a little, I don't know. It was bad. So he's gone for the year, obviously, and that's a huge loss for the Lions because he is, in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. Now with the Lions offense, do they really care that much about defense? Probably. But they're still a contender. They just take a little hit there by losing one of their best pass rushers because they're going to have trouble creating pressure on the quarterback. So a lot of these games are going to probably end up being shootouts.
Frankie, how you feeling about the the Lions here as we move deeper into the season? They look pretty good.
I'm feeling great about them right now. I was shocked to see that this was tied for the biggest loss in the Jerry Jones era for the Dallas Cowboys, and that this was the biggest home loss. I thought for sure it would have been like one of those like Jason Garrett, late Wade Phillips teams that would have done it. But amazingly, this Cowboys team that is a talented team with Dak and everybody on that team, Michael Parsons, everybody. I can't believe this team that this is their biggest loss in the Jerry Jones era, and it has been going on for a long time, probably too long if you ask Cowboys fans. Losing by 38. But yeah, the Lions just played excellent on all sides of the ball. Yes, losing Hutchinson hurts. That leg injury, it was rough to watch. Still not the all-time worst is still Joe Theismann getting his leg snapped in two by Lawrence Taylor. That's oof. Every time I just cringe seeing that. This wasn't that bad, but
Alex Smith had a bad one too.
Alex Smith had a rough one too. So yeah, that's at the top two. But yeah, it's still broken legs, not fun. And I think this Lions team, at least on offense, as Justin pointed out, I think on offense they'll be fine. They're still a very talented bunch. Goff's looked great. Dak has not. I've questioned that contract ever since they signed him. I didn't think he was worthy of that much money. I know he's a good quarterback, but I don't see him as a Super Bowl champion. And we saw just those struggles, a couple terrible interceptions he threw in this game. And only scoring 9 points. This team, of this talent, scoring 9 points is crazy. And it also makes me realize, man, the Cleveland Browns really suck because Dallas looked great in week one. They were totally dominant in that game, and they've not looked anywhere near that since. So that's just a real indication of how bad the Browns are. And also, the Cowboys, what are they, 0-3 at home? Not good.
Texans now 5-1. They beat the Pats. Any thoughts on that game, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked the Texans all year long. That offense is legit. Defense could be better. But overall, that team looks really good. I think they're a contender for that AFC crown there for the end of the year. They lost Nico Collins last week to a hamstring injury, but that's no problem because they got Stephon Diggs. They got Tank Dell. They got a lot of depth. I mean, they just keep cranking out offensive players. C.J. Stroud's looked good. And then Joe Mixon returned and had a big game. Granted, it was against the Pats. They're pretty bad. But overall, I think the Texans are a solid team.
Frankie, how you feeling about the Texans? They Super Bowl contenders, you think?
Absolutely. A lot of Super Bowl contenders this year. A lot of really good teams out there. Texans are one of them. This game wasn't more about the Texans for me than it was the Patriots. I mean, we know the Texans are going to be good. Not surprising to me, they scored 50 against this New England team. The story to me was seeing Drake May in his first NFL game. And I will say, I mean, talk about throwing him to the lion's den in that just abysmal Patriots offensive line. And there were a lot of times in that game where he had to throw the ball quick and he had to avoid, just defenders that all up in his grill. But, I thought he played well for his first game against that offensive line or with that offensive line. I thought he played well. He made a couple of really nice long touchdown throws that I've waited like 6 years for Daniel Jones to make. So it was great seeing that early on in his first game, seeing him make a couple throws like that. I don't know how his NFL career is going to be because I remember, Sam Darnold's first NFL game, he looked like he was a Hall of Famer, and then we saw what happened with the rest of his career with the Jets. But maybe that's just the Jets. So, however his career goes, I have no idea. But if you're a Patriots fan, you had to be at least excited, thinking about, all right, if we can get a good team around this kid, maybe he can be something. Because he did not crap the bed in his first start. That's what you were worried about. He didn't do that. He didn't embarrass himself. And hopefully the Patriots can, build on that towards a better future with him as their quarterback.
Bucks put up 51 points against the Saints. Justin Mayfield threw 4 touchdowns, but also had 3 interceptions. Any thoughts on Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay is kind of a weird team. I mean, they've got the talent, but they're real up and down. They got the Saints when they're, kind of being kicked around because Derek Carr is out with an injury. Spencer Rattler gets to start for the Saints. But Baker Mayfield is another one of those quarterbacks like Sam Darnold that, was looking like a questionable draft pick, maybe wasn't going to be anything in the league, and now he's reinvented himself in Tampa Bay. You worry about the 3 picks, but who cares when you put up 51 points?
Yeah. Do you concur, Frankie?
I concur. The second quarter of this game was the craziest quarter that we've seen this entire NFL season. There was 34 points. There was an interception return. There was like 3 interceptions. The Saints scored 27 of those. The Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter and then didn't put up another point before or after that. Truly bizarre. But yeah, Tampa Bay just 51 points. Baker had a great game, and I hate to bring up the Browns again, but you watch Baker play as well as he did with the 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. It was a far best performance from Baker. But you see how he did, and then you look at Cleveland and you look at Deshaun Watson going 0 for 26 on his last 26 third down conversions. It's another. You just once again sit there and go, "Why'd you give up on this guy?" He just had one little injury. You could have waited to see if he had healed from it, but Cleveland made that boneheaded decision, and now they have to live with it. But yeah, Tampa Bay right now, when they're hot, they're about as good as any offense in the league. And yeah, you saw that again against a Saints team that is. It's sad to see how quick that because they were the darlings at the early part of the year, and then the second car went down. It just hasn't been the same for them. But it's all around a great performance from Tampa Bay, especially from Baker Mayfield in that offense.
Not sure if you guys can hear it, but I got a cat with a nasty hairball behind me. I'm getting that. I'm sure that's going to be fun to clean up in just a few minutes. But
was that the Giants' offense last night?
Yeah, Herbals. So we got another game in London. The Bears against the Jags. Bears won. Caleb Williams threw 4 touchdowns. Continues to look pretty impressive. First of all, I didn't realize they were playing multiple games in London this year. Are they playing like every week in London now, or what is this?
I think it's just 2 weeks, but yeah, they've done multiple games.
But and not only that, they've played 3 games in London. They played a game in Germany last year. They're playing a game. Is it Spain this year or next year? They're playing a game where Real Madrid plays.
Or they're trying to internationalize this thing and spread the interest. That'll be interesting if they try to set up teams in these places because those flights are going to be annoying.
The rest of the world does not care. Here's the thing: it is the National Football League. The rest of the world, the only football they care about is soccer. They do not care about. I don't know why the NFL. Well, we know
why. They care, but that not to the extent that it makes sense to try to create teams in these places.
Yeah, I think I've heard some rumors about them trying to create a team in London. I don't know if that's a great idea, but Caleb Williams 4 touchdowns. Any thoughts on Caleb Williams there, Justin?
Yeah, first pick, starting to look like the first pick. Efficient, with 80% passing or so. Just crazy, how he's really turned the corner. Now, the Bears did set him up with some successful pieces. They gave him Keenan Allen. They gave him DJ Moore. He's got Cole Kmet. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's got a good team to play with, and the defense is bailing them out a lot of the times as well. So he was probably in the best situation outside of Jaden Daniels for a quarterback this year.
Yeah, he is now 4-2 with 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 1,300 yards already in 6 games. So on pace for a pretty nice season. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Jets because they are trash. And, I'm seeing all the Jets fans on social media this morning absolutely just flabbergasted at the team's lack of offense. They obviously fired their head coach this week. Any thoughts on the Jets? Let's start with you, Frankie.
What a just frustrating time to be a Jets fan. Think about how quick it has all changed. 3 weeks ago, this team was coming off a win against New England. Their offense was clicking. Jets fans were they could not believe they finally had a franchise quarterback. The offense was playing great. This was the best time to be a Jet fan in a decade. And it's all gone to hell since then. A loss to the Broncos that very easily could have been a win. They get blown up by Minnesota. They fire their coach, which I don't know if I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to talk about it. But to me, I kind of disagreed with the Saleh firing. Not that I felt like he wasn't the right coach, and I felt like eventually it was time for him to move on. But to me, when you fire a coach mid-season, you're essentially waving the white flag. And I don't know why you're waving the white flag at 2-3. You could win a couple games, you're right back in it. So that decision made no sense. And I don't believe for a second that Aaron Rodgers did not have a hand in this. I don't know if Woody went to Aaron or Aaron went to Woody, but you don't tell me that you fire a coach like this and you don't consult your quarterback. You have to. So I don't buy Rodgers for a second. But yeah, so they have those 2 losses. They fire their coach, and now they play against the Bills, a game that you're hoping that maybe they can spark something. And the offense didn't look terrible in this game, but they didn't score enough. Not able to make enough big plays on defense. And if this team had a good kicker, that's the story of both the local teams right now. If the Jets and Giants both had good kickers, it'd be so different. But Joseph misses 2 kicks. They have the interception late at the end of the game. The penalties in this game were just abominable. I heard ESPN was talking about what a thriller of a game this was. I'm like, this game had 22 penalties. What kind of a thriller is this? So that was just excruciating football to watch. Fortunately, we had the Yankees on, so you could be distracted by that last night if the Jets were, were driving me crazy. But just it's crazy to think to me how quickly it has all gone bad for the Jets after starting 2-1 and everyone being so excited for the last 3 weeks. It's crazy, but maybe it's not crazy. Maybe it's just the Jets.
Justin, Aaron Rodgers, every time we see him giving a press conference or any kind of interview, he's just like the most sullen and like depressed person these days. Like I haven't seen him smile in years. Like he's just, like what's up with Aaron Rodgers? Is he just not handling New York well or what?
I don't think it's a New York thing. I think it's just, it's a guy who's been in the league a while. He's had success, and now he's tasting some failure, and he can't handle it. He's a little baby,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, and it's the worst part is I've touched on this before, but as a leader, as a quarterback, you see this in like other sports as well with the point guard or with baseball, the pitcher. You take some responsibility. Like, oh, my bad it goes a long way. Even if it's not your bad, it's my bad. Hey, I threw that pass. You dropped it. My bad. I should have made a better pass. But he doesn't ever do that. It's always your bad. Like, like Coach Sala, he's a great defensive mind, not the best offensive mind, but you know what? That's why they brought Aaron Rodgers in, because he's supposed to be kind of the coach on the field. But when your coach on the field is constantly, looking like he hates everybody there, then what's the story there, right? So, I mean, great player. We saw glimpses of his, talent with the Hail Mary at the end of the first half. He had a solid game. The offense honestly looked better than it has in a while, but I don't know if that's because of Todd Downing taking over the play calling over Hackett, or if it's just Aaron Rodgers finally saying, "Oh, I'll try harder now that I got what I want." Right.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't enough because they couldn't stop the Bills when they needed to. Even with the final drive getting bailed out repeatedly with penalties, overturned fumble calls, they still can't get out of their own way. Mike Williams falls down, turns into a pick, right? So I mean, yeah, it's definitely it's a dumpster fire.
I see you had that prop ready to go.
I got the prop. I was ready for it. I had to set it up.
All right, let's talk Giants. Yeah, let's talk about the Giants. Awful in prime time again. Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones. Frankie, why don't you start us off with the Giants?
To me, this was predictable. The Giants are coming off a win against Seattle that no one expected. That was a great victory against Seattle, going on the road, winning that game. Great team performance, offense and defense looked excellent. And now you come home, you're taking on a Bengals team that is struggling. You're thinking, maybe we'll win this one. Maybe we'll do. I feel like I've seen this like 5 or 6 times from the Giants in the last decade. They win a game no one expects them to win. Then they come home for a primetime game and they get their doors blown off them. I feel like I've seen this way too much. And it happened again on Sunday night. Just another terrible performance. And like I said, just like I mentioned about the Jets, if the Giants had a good kicker, they would, things might be different. But since Graham Gano is gone, the Giants don't have a kicker. He missed two more field goals. Jones was not very good in this game. The interception that he threw in the red zone, it's just like, dude, just take the sack or throw it. How is it that you're in year 6 and you're still making these throws? Can you throw a deep ball every once in a while? Like, why is it that Drake May already has more deep throw touchdowns than you? The offense was just pathetic. It's a shame because this defense is top tier. This defense is elite, and they're not being carried by this offense right now. It's just a terrible performance. And I will say right now, it's a good time to be a New York sports fan. Between the Yankees winning yesterday, between the Mets winning yesterday, between the Knicks being one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NBA, between the Devils and Rangers competing for a Stanley Cup, they're one of the 5 or 6 best teams. Both of them are 5 to 6 best teams. 2 of the 5, 6 best teams in the NHL. Rutgers is ranked 25th in the AP poll. The New York Liberty are in the WNBA finals. There's a lot of good right now with New York sports, and it's a shame that the football is not in any way. It does not match with the way the rest of the city is playing right now with sports. It's difficult. It's a shame, but it's what we've come to expect from New York football for the most part of the last 5-6 years.
All right, Justin. Are the Giants basically out of playoff contention? They're 2-4. Yeah, Frankie, you mentioned they got an elite defense. You think they got enough in them to make a run here, or are they kind of screwed at this point?
I mean, they're in a division that's like, not winnable necessarily, because I think the Commanders are obviously the best in that group. NFC doesn't look great this year. I mean, the teams you thought were going to be good aren't that good. 49ers aren't looking great. Um, my concern with the Giants, I saw a different game than Frankie saw, honestly, because like I thought the Bengals with that trash defense was going to continue being trash. I mean, they were giving up points to teams like the Browns. I mean, like they're not that good, but they came to play. They really like they came out, had a good game plan. Giants didn't have Malik Neighbors. They didn't have Devin Singletary. So they definitely needed their weapons out there to have the offense moving the ball. But I still thought the Giants would be able to do just enough. And they did. They were in it till the end of the game. It was a 7-7 game, like most of the game. It was a weird game. And then, Cincinnati goes ahead by a field goal. Giants drive down. They try a field goal. Bam, missed the field goal, right? Changes the entire complexion of the game. Now the defense has to come back out. They have to keep doing their job. Bengals end up scoring. It's just Burrow was doing a great job with that against that defense as well. They sealed it up eventually, but in the first half, the first quarter, he was reading those blitzes and just taking off. Like he wasn't even looking to pass. Just down the field, had a 47-yard touchdown run. I mean, playing against an elite quarterback like that, bracketing Jamar Chase all game, shutting him down. Brian Dowell, he said YOLO and just stopped punting. Right? He's like, punting's for losers, man. We're going to go for it every fourth down. And honestly, I think that was not the greatest choice because that ended up burning them in the end. But, he was trying something at least. One of the fourth downs, they did an option pitch. Right? Yeah. I mean, we'll see that in the NFL. Daniel Jones definitely has problems with the deep ball. But I think that the offensive coordinator needs to recognize that and stop trying it because it's not working. Like your sideline throws are not working. You're underthrowing them. You're not getting any receivers. Definitely not with someone like Malik Neighbors to bail you out. Like all the receivers they have right now are little like midgets, right? And you're trying to like throw jump.
Are we
balls.
allowed to say that word these days?
Small people, Justin. Small people.
Yeah, I think Justin just got us canceled here.
Thanks for watching the last episode of the New York Football Show.
Yeah.
I've got balls of steel.
All right, let's move on and talk about the Bills here. So obviously they beat the Jets, so we touched on that. But Josh Allen back to being Josh Allen, looking good. Defense made just enough plays to pull it out. Are the Bills a Super Bowl contender at this point? I mean, they look pretty strong. Let's start with you, Justin.
This week they are.
Yeah, they are kind of up and down. Who knows?
Who knows? It's kind of the theme of the NFL season, right? Like where up is down and left is right. The Bills early on, like, man, they look really good. The defense looks good. And then they have a 2-game stretch where they look terrible. Josh Allen's like 9 for 30. You think he's got a concussion. And then he comes out here against the Jets defense that's still really good. And, they move the ball well. I mean, they had a good game. He didn't turn the ball over. He was very efficient. Got the game-sealing first down run. Bills offense, were missing James Cook, but they didn't seem to miss him because they had a rookie, Ray Davis, running all over that Jets vaunted defense. Yeah. So if the Bills team that showed up today shows up all year, then yeah, they're a Super Bowl contender. Now, I do still worry about the fact they don't have like that key go-to receiver like a Stephon Diggs, right? Because they have to spread the ball around. But maybe that's the best thing for Josh Allen. Maybe he doesn't key in on a single receiver all the time and instead makes the right reads.
Yeah. Frankie, we should probably update some of these highlight reels with some of the highlights from this season. We can do that for next week. We're about halfway through.
Yeah, I saw Robert Saleh in the top right corner during the Jets part. I'm like, this needs
we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and do an update.
He
there.
Still has a job in our hearts, all right?
Yeah. To be fair, I've been keeping Frankie pretty busy with the baseball stuff here. Yeah, the Yankees actually playing through October this year. October 15th. Usually we're done by now in the last several years. So Mets are still. Dude, we're gonna have a Yankees-Mets Subway Series. I think. I don't think that the Dodgers can beat the Mets. I know this is a football show, but I just think the Dodgers pitching is going to come up short. They look. They've had to throw bullpen games and stuff. They just don't have enough starting pitching. I think the Mets are going to win that series. I think the Yankees are going to beat the Guardians. So we're going to have a Yankees-Mets World Series. That's my prediction. And then afterwards, I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to be euphoric because I mean that's going to be huge for my show. So anyway, we'll have to start a New York baseball show. Do both things. All right, so let's get to our players of the week real quick because we're running close on time here. My player of the week, Caleb Williams, 282 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Look really good. Frankie, who you got there?
I got Sean Tucker, the Bucks running back, who had 192 total yards, 136 on the run, 56 receiving, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown, as Tampa Bay puts up 51 on the Saints.
And Justin, we this segment is called Player of the Week, not 9 Players of the Week. And
I like them all.
I know, but I went ahead and selected for you. This is what I do when my wife says, "Well, I don't know where I want to eat tonight." I just make a pick. What's that?
What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want?
Exactly. When that happens, I just make the decision. I just say, "Look, we're going to Maggiano's again." So, all right. So, Jared Goff, your guy.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not? 350 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions, 72% completion rate. There are other candidates too. I like to give thanks to Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Derrick Henry, everyone there.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully next week we'll be back on time. We'll get Justin's microphone working. Hopefully we'll get him a watch that works.
9:30.
What's that?
I'll get it working at 9 instead of 9:30.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear that I got about 3 hours sleep last night, and I was on time. And I was doing a show less than 12 hours ago. So,
I sleep right next to your room.
That is true.
As
opposed, did you have to drive to the studio today? What is this? Did you have to?
I got upstairs. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a 30-foot walk, and I was downstairs this morning. I had to make coffee. Come on.
I hate it when mom and dad fight.
Yeah. All right, Frankie, you're fired. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.